comes to Jack Parsons, there's no evidence proving that that man was ever killed or died. You know what I mean? And if you go on Netflix and you look at the video that they made for him, okay, it's kind of a joke because like at the end of the video, he's in his laboratory and he has a vision of a beautiful freaking like spirit female, and he drops a canister and it explodes. I mean, how the hell they know that shit? You know what I mean? They're just filling that crap full of banter, making him out to be an idiot. Why would they do that? You know what I mean? It just there's certain things that don't make sense about that story, you know. So what's your guys' take on all that crap?
I'm looking for stuff on Jack Parsons now. I want something that nobody pays attention to.
Well, they don't pay attention to him, period. Like, think about how many other things you've heard about, and you barely hear the topic on Jack Parsons at all.
Yeah, no, I just started recently hearing about him and Casey, and I know that it's not the same supposedly, but it parallels, and people get cocky. So like especially like, I don't want to say like murderers, but people that feel like they got a little bit of power about themselves, they always get sloppy somewhere. They have to. It's like a calling card. It's like they just gotta let you know I've done some greasy stuff, because it's that power surge. There's somewhere that what you're talking about makes sense, or he's here still. He's still here, but he's reincarnated. He's be dead now. No, he's not, because he's established a way in order for him
he would be dead by now. I mean, there's no way he's alive today. There is no way that he's alive today, but
not alive for what you're used to.
Well,
again, light
we're
energy.
Talking about 1935. He was
1952 is when it says he passed away. Yeah, I see.
You know, I mean,
1914 he was born, supposedly.
Yeah,
we're basing this off of what they're saying.
He was at the height of his career in the 30s. You know what I'm saying? Right when rocket science was really taking hold. You know what I mean? People were actually freaking learning about it. Like he was one of the pioneers. This wasn't like some crackerjack shit. You know what I mean? You hear about people freaking who did all these great things in NASA back when the NASA was first started out, but this was before NASA was even thought of. You know what I mean? So, I mean, you're talking about pioneer days when it came to freaking space exploration and rocket science.
Yeah, it's been forever since I read up on any of the early rocketry stuff, but I'm pretty sure I've read about him.
He's pretty hardcore. I mean, it really is. Like, and nobody even pays attention to it. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like freaking everybody wants to talk about the bad side of it, like Aleister Crowley, because Aleister Crowley is exciting. You know what I mean? And like,
wasn't he his protege?
Yeah,
wasn't Parsons his
yeah, he was his protege. If he wouldn't have died, he would have became leader of Aleister Crowley's cult. At least that's what they say. I don't know if that's true or not, because Aleister Crowley had his ego. You know what I mean? And he ended up in the end too losing everything he had. He was one of those hardcore people, you know, that just...
How has he done podcast interviews? 66 of Jack Parsons podcast interviews. How does he do podcast interviews? Podcasts didn't even exist when this man was alive. That's what I mean. These people
take
be
old
reaching.
Footage. I can listen to old footage too.
I guess it's the same how they have Napoleon, because I listen to Napoleon Hill and Earl Nightingale, and like, it's just...
But yeah, they have old footages or old audio sound bits that they put together and they make it into a podcast.
Have you ever done anything like a seance or channeling of the spirits or extra, or you said you did dark magic before. Have you channeled energy in order to become more insightful?
It's with with a lot of the stuff that I learned about, it's all about meditation, and
Mm-hmm.
you have to create a ritual where you can invoke a spirit or an entity into coming into our world and doing your bidding for you instead of you doing it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, First, you have to start out in deep meditation, and you have to visualize yourself in a dark room. And when you're in that dark room, you have to visualize a candle, or at least some inanimate object that you can focus on in your mind. Then after that, you envision a doorway, and inside of your conscience, when you get to this stage, you're supposed to stand up and walk through that door, and that door is supposed to be filled with a stairway, I believe, that leads up to another door. You go into that door, and it's solid white. And within that area, that's when you're able to create an environment where you can actually freaking speak to these entities. And later on, you create the ritual after you've made contact with them, and you can summons them into our reality according to the books.
Yeah, there's other ways to do something, but I understand. I was just wondering, have you ever attempted to talk to Jack Parsons?
No,
Or
uh-uh.
okay,
No,
we
I
should do
mean,
it. We should do it.
back when I was a teenager, I didn't even know who Jack Parsons was. I only found out about Jack Parsons in later part of my life. I mean, like this is the time of the internet and technology and information. You know, I mean, I'm talking about freaking 80s and early 90s and shit. We
You
had
should do it. We
we
should
had
do it.
bookstores. I had to steal my first book of the Necronomicon, dude, and come to find out that was just a fraud. I mean, H.P. Lovecraft was a science fiction writer, you know, and me
I'm
being
going
the
to.
idiot I was,
He would
freaking
probably channel you
I
better than
believed it 100% to be true,
mine.
man. And everybody kept saying, "No, dude, that ain't real. That's
I
not
bet
real."
Elon Musk could channel him real good. I really wish I like. We got to get him on here. Like, I mean, like, and talk in real time and talk about like this because like I want to channel this guy
Well,
and I want to know if I just want to see what he's on. Jack Parsons. I mean, Elon's a no brainer. But I mean, Jack Parsons, that might take some work. I want to kind of, and I feel like that might actually be him. And I know that sounds crazy, but I think he knows that because, like, I just found out about Tesla, so I don't doubt that like that's him,
well,
that is him.
Dave, what do you think about my idea about Jack Parsons?
You know, I don't put anything past our government. If he was too big of a pain in the ass, especially when it came to the secret, you know, the dark projects,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they'll off him. There's no doubt about that. Uh, I don't have enough solid knowledge in my mind to really have any opinions on him. I do know, tying the religious part and the science part together, I do know post World War II, Operation Paperclip, a lot of the Apollo and earlier uh, project scientists, the top scientists, would do satanic rituals on the landing pads or on the launch pads.
Mm-hmm.
So I know the occult and NASA, there's some ties, especially historically, but unfortunately, I don't know enough about what you're talking about to really say a lot. I just know it's been baked into the space program, at least in its older iterations. I didn't see any direct evidence of that while I was there, but no, that was after all the paperclip guys were gone. So I don't know.
Yeah. And, on Jack Parsons, too, it might not have been them offing him off either. It's just a fact that maybe they didn't want him to be in the public eye anymore because they found out that he was affiliated with Aleister Crowley, you know what I mean? Or maybe even they all were a part of Aleister Crowley's little hangout, and he just had to go, under the freaking curtain, basically, instead of killing him off, make it to where freaking he just, everybody thought he was dead, He could have been living and doing his work in secrecy, and nobody would know. I mean, he was supposed to have died in his home,
Or he didn't get killed, and he just continued his work. He didn't get killed. More like he just separated himself from your existence in order for him to work freely. I can relate to that. That makes so much sense.
Now, I do have a general question, just to be skeptical. There's all these stories of fiction about people faking their own deaths and continuing on their life somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I've seen stories of basically nobody's pulling it off, usually criminals pulling it off for a long time and eventually getting caught. But how many times have we actually seen where a celebrity level individual faked their own death?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't recall anyone.
If you did it right, then you did. Listen, hold on. If you did it right, then we should be zero.
Well, if they did it right, we'd never know.
Exactly. If we know about it, then get messed up somewhere along the line.
The big thing too is, like, when you get into that topic, Dave, have you ever found out or checked out how many scientists who have died mysteriously since
I know
World War
people
II?
who have unpopular opinions or go against the opinion being pushed sometimes go away. I don't know about doctors, scientists so much recently, but a lot of natural doctors died in waves before the COVID-19 thing hit, and some afterwards. They were actually trying to do, real medicine. So I know about.
And then what happened? They disappeared?
No, they died.
No, they just died.
Yeah, there was like 10 doctors in a 2-week period, something like that, that died because they were natural doctors. I was actually worried that
people with COVID
might go because she was a pharmacologist who became a doctor later and makes her own medicine and didn't believe any of the bullshit. I'm surprised she survived. She's still practicing. But I know about doctors getting offed. It happens to scientists too. We're getting into the area of things that I don't know for certain, how I talked about my levels.